Tonight I'm in my pet cemetery. I'm at the gravesite of my dog Taz, who was one of the dogs I had as a child. I got him in, it would have been May of 1995. He was born March 25th of 1995, and he was a little puppy. He was just ready to leave his mother, about 2 months old. Anyway, he was an awesome dog. I could talk for hours about my adventures with this boy. He passed away in June of 2007, and he had hip dysplasia. He was having a hard time getting around, and he had stopped eating. He was a senior, and he was ready to go. So we had him put down at the vet's office, and we brought him home here, which was probably about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours away from the vet's clinic, to bring him to my house here. But as I said, he was an awesome dog. We had lots of adventures. In 1997, we were given a dog by a friend of my parents to rehome. For some reason they couldn't keep the dogs, and they tried to give them away. Well, one of them, they had no trouble finding her a home, but the other one, who was apparently her sister, Raja, nobody wanted her, so they had to get her out of the house. So we took her, and we tried to rehome her. Anyway, she was not housebroken at all. She was paper trained. She would go on papers, but she was like 2 years old, and the people who had her, they never house trained her at all. Like, they let her go in the house. But anyway, that's just rambling. Her and my dog Taz had a litter of puppies. I can't remember how many there were. I think there was 5 or 6 of them, and only one of them was allowed to survive their first 24 hours of life. And I named him Lucky. And he was the first rescue sniffer dog that I trained. I trained him to do every trick that was in my dog training books. I taught him to do, like the sit, stay, everything like that. But I also trained him how to track. And we would do exercises with Lucky, and my sister would run out into the woods and hide, and I'd have him either in the house or where he couldn't see her or hear where she was going, although he probably could hear her because dogs have great sense of hearing. But he would find her every single time. We made a huge fuss. Anyway, we weren't allowed to keep him after my father came home, and they gave him to a guy. I had no idea who he was, but he lived in Elmsdale somewhere. That's as far as I know. I have no idea if he did live there, but he apparently gave him a good home, which is great. He died in 2006. His owner accidentally backed over him in the driveway, so I'm told. But he said that he was the best dog that they ever had, and I feel really good about that because I helped Raja raise him. Now, Raja herself, she was taken when Lucky was probably about 2 months old, and we couldn't rehome her, and she went back into heat again, and they tried to tell me that she had something medically wrong with her, which was why she was bleeding, but I was a dog geek as a child, and I read all the books, and I knew that what was happening to her was completely normal and healthy, because if she had have had a prolapse or a tear in her uterus, I'm pretty sure that it would have made itself known before her puppy was 2 months old. Like, she had no issues until then, but she was taken and I never saw her again. But rewind to December 1st, 1997, when the babies were born, and they were dealt with. I buried them in one of the pet cemeteries that we had, and it was really mucky ground. I think it was there wasn't snow at that time. It was like really mucky and wet. So I think it may have been a green Christmas that year as well. But it was clay soil, and I dug down. We buried them in a 2-liter ice cream container and sealed the lid, put them in. Well, in 2005, or no, it was 2004, because it was when I started to relocate. In 2004, I was relocating the graves from the old cemetery into the new cemetery. And I was digging, and I said, well, I'm going to move Taz and Raj's puppies up into the cemetery. And I found their little ice cream container, and I guess my shovel must have hit it because it cracked. And I looked in, and the puppies were perfectly preserved. It's because of lack of oxygen. Anyway, I took the puppies and I put them in a tobacco can. Because a tobacco can is a lot thicker of a plastic, you get a much tighter seal. Now, when I put these puppies in here in 2004, after having been in the ice cream container since '97, they were very, very well preserved. So I have no idea what these little guys look like. I'm going to bury them over here behind their dad. So I figured, for my own curiosity and for educational purposes, to show you how important oxygen is to the decomposition process and why it is not a good idea to get a sealed casket, we're going to open it and see how the babies are. And I have no idea what this is going to look like. Could just be a puddle of slime. I have a good feeling that it is going to smell. So we're going to open the babies. In opening a tomb, it's very, very important because there could be gases built up in there. I don't know if there will be because their ice cream container is cracked. That would let some expansion out. I don't know what gases would have been left there for them to expand in the tobacco can. But since oxygen was reintroduced to them at that time, there could be some bacterial growth on them until the oxygen ran out, which would have caused a little bit of gas expansion. So it might pop when I open it. I have no idea. So when you're doing this, you should definitely have a face mask on, as well as eye protection. And, of course, gloves. I can't stress enough the importance of having proper protection. My glasses are fogging, but that is fine by me. I would rather have foggy glasses than have decomp splattered on me. So I'm just going to change the camera angle and find my gloves, and then I will show you the puppies. Alright, so we're going to open up the tomb, see what we have. As I said, this is my own morbid curiosity. I think it's a good idea, when this is done, that I hold this away from me. There actually wasn't much of a seal on that. It wasn't very tight. Alright, so, yeah, that's pretty neat. That is just... I can't even see. I'm going to take my glasses off because there's no risk of splatter at this point. There has been some decomposition, but you can still see each individual baby puppy. And the smell is coming now. I'm not going to disturb them because I know if I touch them, they're going to smell. But there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 in there. Yeah, there's just 4. So the smell is there. I'm going to seal them. So we got the black and tan boy, the brindle boy, the black boy, and the little girl who looked just like Taz, who's blonde. So now I'm going to put these guys in the grave, and they can be with Daddy forever because he's right there, and the babies are going to go just off to his side.